Hi, welcome to the Day Palmer Show. And with me in this episode is a leading expert in living a fantastic life and turning points. He's an international keynote speaker, TEDx speaker, 3 times best-selling author, and life-changing coach. He's written 17 books, over 30 academic papers, and graced many international stages during his lifetime. Dr. Allen will make you laugh, cry, and take action. He would deliver a transformation experience that would take you to the next level. Dr. Allen Lycka, welcome to the Dave Palmer Show.
Thank you for having me, Dave. I'm really proud to be here. Thank you for having me on your delightful stage.
Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to have you here as well, Dr. Lycka. I know your background's a doctor. You've been a doctor for pretty much a full career, really, a very long career. But then you had something that maybe gave you a life-changing and life-turning experience, but it wasn't very nice when you heard it. A doctor told you something. Tell me a little bit.
Let's talk about that. I was walking with my wife in Disneyland in 2003, and my wife turned to me and said, "What's wrong with you, hon?" For once in my life, I hadn't said anything wrong. I hadn't done anything wrong. I hadn't even thunk anything wrong, Dave. Right. So I didn't know what she was talking about.
Wow. Well, what happened was the doctor told you something. So tell us a little bit.
What led up to that is I had a dropped right foot, and my dropped right foot happened in Disneyland. My wife told me to get it checked out, and I did get it checked out. I got checked out by hundreds of doctors, and they found absolutely nothing.
Wow.
I had brain scans, I had CAT scans, I had scans. Right. And when doctors find absolutely nothing, they keep on looking until they find something.
That's right.
And I ended up on the doorstep of a world-leading neurologist. A neurologist is the brain guy. He's supposed to have all the answers to the puzzle. He's supposed to have all the picture there. And he asked me, I walked in and I said, "Hi." He said, "Hi" back. You better be sitting down when I tell you this.
Right.
You better get your affairs in order because you have 6 months to live. You have ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Wow. How did you feel when he told you that?
It was like a ton of bricks. I shot back at him, "Is there a way to prove this diagnosis?" He said, "Of course, on autopsy."
Right. So what happened next?
What happened next is I said, "I'm not going to die to prove you wrong." But when you go through something like that, you basically start going through the phases of that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote in her book on death and dying. You go through anger. I was very angry, Dave.
Right.
I could bite the head off nails.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I went through bargaining. "Oh God, please don't let this happen. I'll do anything if you don't let this happen." I went through a phase of denial. Denial is when you start when you don't believe anything about it. I think the world is in a denial phase right now, where they don't believe anything happened with COVID, etc. But the denial is a very big phase that people go through. And I went through denial. I said, "I'm going to have something to show for this at the end of the day." But I knew I had something wrong. I had a dropped right foot. So I couldn't deny that. And finally, I went through depression. Depression is when you stare at the ceiling in the morning and you say, "I'm not going to do anything because I don't know what the world has in store for me. The world's black. The world's no matter what I do, I'm going to end up dead in 6 months."
Right. I see. Yeah.
Well, so that's what I went through. But then at the end of that, I went to my wife and said, "Dear, do you know what I have?" She said, "I haven't got the faintest idea, but you're smart. You can figure it out."
Yeah.
Well, so back in 2003, I started to figure it out. I went, something new was invented there, Dave. It was something called the internet. You ever hear of that?
I've heard of intranet. Yeah, it's kind of like an internet within a corporation or something. So it's called an intranet.
Yeah, sort of like that, except it's something that Al Gore invented for everybody to communicate all at once in the world. And
right. Yeah. So
I back in 2003, the internet was very primitive. You had to get on by dial-on connections. That's when your phone went into a cradle and talked to another phone.
I remember that. That's right. I remember that.
That obnoxious sound for about 15 minutes, and finally it connected. And then when it connected, you could only get on in a very primitive way. We didn't have Dr. Google then. We didn't have Dr. Yahoo then. No. All we had was talking between each site. And the internet was a very amazing thing, but it was like the world's best library filled with garbage cans, and you couldn't tell the garbage cans from the good resources. Yeah. So you really had to search hard. And I had some nerds that helped me. And I found a doctor in Colorado Springs, Colorado, that had a story very similar to mine. His name was David Martz, and it was on his deathbed when doctors from around the world were coming up to say goodbye to him. And a doctor from Texas came up to say goodbye to David, and he saw something that nobody else had seen. He said, David, I don't think you have ALS. I don't think you have Gherigs disease. I think you have something called chronic Lyme's disease. David said, what's that? He said, well, it's a bite of a tick. And if I'm right, I can make you better. And David said, was like Lazarus 2 weeks later. He was like, he arose from the dead. He was dancing. He could sing. He could do everything he could ever do. So I knew I had to talk to David. And so I phoned every hospital in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and got in touch with David Martz. And we talked, and he said, come on down and see me. And I did. I got on a flight from Edmonton to Denver. It was great. 2.5 hours. Then I got on a really rinky-dink flight from Denver to Colorado Springs, 15 minutes in length. But it was terrible. It was like I was like a cork in a tidal wave. The plane would climb 100 feet, and then it would drop 100 feet suddenly and without warning. And then it would climb another 100 feet and drop 200 feet suddenly with warning. I crawled off that plane, and there was David on the tarmac to meet me. And we talked for hours. And he said, Dr. Lycka, I think history has repeated itself, and I think I can make you better. And that's why I'm alive still now, 18 years after the fact that I was supposed to be dead.
Yeah, wow. So was that a turning point in your life? I mean, what would you say was a turning point in your life? With the fact that you was told it was a different.
Go through something like that, sir. You really have to reevaluate everything you've done. I think you start realize you've been given life's golden ticket, and you've got a chance to do everything better than you did before. And I knew that's what I had done, and I knew this was a great opportunity for me to do things better. And that's when I started looking around, and I found these golden pearls, I call them, that are found in every one of us. Wonderful golden pearls that people can use to build their life better and stronger than they ever have before.
Yeah. Wow. So what did these golden pearls do? I mean,
well, you know what a golden pearl is, David? A golden pearl develops because a grain of sand gets inside of an oyster and it traumatizes it. It really, instead of the oyster being damaged by it, it walls it off with this wonderful material called luster. And golden pearls really exist in nature. They're found in the South Pacific. They're made by a particular type of oyster. They're so rare there that a single solitary pearl can sell upwards of $10,000. Wow. But these pearls that are found inside of us are even better. They are invaluable because each one of them makes you stronger and better, and they're found in every one of us.
Wow, yeah. Okay, so you reached a turning point in your life then when you found out that it was only something caused by a tick that was ALS. No, it wasn't ALS. Sorry, I'm getting confused there.
It was chronic Lyme's disease.
Yeah, it was chronic Lyme. So you got that sorted out in the end.
Yes, I did. And it was a great thing because now I'm still thriving. I'm not living, I'm thriving now 18 years later.
Yeah, wow. So so that was a turning point in your life. Can you tell me what is the meaning of turning points and how can we recognize them?
You know, a turning point is basically what happens when your whole life changes in an instant. Your whole life changes in a way that you would have never predicted. A turning point is something where you veer from one direction into a totally different direction. And you look at it and it's something that you realize. Now, a lot of times you don't realize when it's happening. You realize when it's happening, it's something you're going through despair, you're going through anguish, you're going through torture. And you realize only after the fact that this was really a golden gift that was given to you. It was something that you knew was better than it was before. And when you get into a situation like that, you veer, you change. I think most people have had a situation in their life where they veered from one direction, totally 180 degrees into another direction, due to the happenstance that had gone on.
Yeah. Wow. I'm a great believer also in obviously choosing goals. I probably did it naturally anyway with obviously, being inspired and looking at something I want to do in my life and sort of just naturally made goals really. But there is a thing called choosing the right goals. Why is choosing the right goals and plan so important? And how do we do that?
I think choosing the right goals are something that you must do, Dave. I think goals are something that we do. And there's something we do to put things in action. We put things in the right direction. We really put things in a way that we wouldn't otherwise have done them. So, little things. And you don't have to find and plan your whole life at once. You really have to plan it in little baby steps and take little parts along the way. And you do it in such a way that you make every day purposeful and meaningful. And you do it in such a way that you try to do the best that you can and make the world a better place as a result of it, and your world a better place as a result of it as well.
Yeah, wow, that sounds great. So you're an expert in living a fantastic life. What can you tell us about living a fantastic life?
Well, to me, living a fantastic life is based on the 13 golden pearls that a person has, and they're covered in my book, The Secrets to Living a Fantastic Life. And it's something that they're all there, and each chapter has a story in it that helps a person to develop their life a little bit better and learn a little bit better. Then there's a dynamic conversation with me and my co-author, Harriet Tinka. Harriet Tinka is an amazing lady that I met along the way who helped me write the book. And she had a story similar to mine, but somewhat different. She was a world-class model walking the runways in New York when she grew tired of it. And she decided to take up her second passion, which is accounting. So she decided to go to the University of Calgary and take a degree in accounting. But there she met a very evil person that ended up kidnapping her, stabbing her, and leaving her for dead. And she realized at that time when she came through that because of a little girl called Amber told her that she needs to write her story and use it to help others along the way. So Harriet and I wrote this wonderful book, and in this book is our conversation, and you're literally a fly on the wall as we're writing the book, and you're literally drawn into it. And there's over 150 quotes of people that lived lives similar to ours. For example, Reese Witherspoon wrote a quote, "You always gain by giving love. Love is our first pearl, and love is the most important pearl there is, because by giving love, you get more back. It's one of the few things in life that the more you give, the more you get."
Yeah. Wow. So could you give us a rough, brief description of these 13 pearls in your book?
Sure. There's 13 of them. I'm just going to pull up my book right here.
Yeah, sure.
Read them off for you so you can see all of them.
Yeah, definitely.
The book also has an introduction by Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield is the person that wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can see that we have some credibility built right into it.
Yeah.
Jack is the #1 author of all time. So our 13 golden pearls are: #1, love; #2, inspiration; #3, victory; #4, vulnerability.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is something that you would not think to be on a list of things that you'd want it to be. But vulnerability is something that makes everything happen. If you were going to run a race, Dave, you couldn't win it unless you were vulnerable. So you have to put yourself on the mark, on the line, and be prepared to lose it all in order to gain it all.
Well, in every sport, that's right. In every sport, even team sport, you see some level of vulnerability because one team's getting battered by the other, and unless it's a really closely contested kind of thing. But you'll see it, won't you? At the end, the losers look more vulnerable, don't they? and stuff like that.
That's right. And the winners look vulnerable too. And that's where the beauty comes out in it, is that you have to be vulnerable in order to be victorious.
Yeah, that's right. And that same team or individual that wins one week would actually have a bad week another time, you know. So that's why, isn't it?
Yes. And the fifth one is purpose. And I want to dwell a little bit on purpose, because purpose is something that all of us need in life. And that's where you came through with goals, is something that helps us to have purpose. But the Japanese have a way of conceptualize this, and it's something called ikigai. In ikigai, it has 4 parts. It's the things that you love, the thing that the world needs, that which you can be paid for, and that which you are good at. And when you put all those things together, your passion, your mission, your vocation, and your profession, you get the ikigai. You get it all together as an overlapping Zen diagram. So something that helps you a lot to help you determine what you need to do and what you want to do with your life. Right,
I see. Yeah. So, where would purpose? What lesson would you say in purpose in terms of that analogy?
I think sometimes purpose, you define your own purpose, but I think sometimes purpose is something that's thrust upon you. So you should help to define your purpose by deciding what you want to do, your mission, your passion, your goals, and all that together, so you can decide what you're going to do with your life. I think right now a lot of people are missing their purpose in life.
Yeah. Well, people probably don't even think about it really. It's a slightly different thing to goals, I suppose, in terms of what are you waking up, what's your purpose, why are you doing what you're doing?
Purpose is something that gives your goals direction. I think it's something like it's the rudder on a boat. It's something that helps you to steer your boat in the right direction.
Right, I see. Yeah, that's a good analogy, actually. Yeah, fantastic. So that's the 5th part of the book, purpose.
The 6th one is non-negotiables. Everybody needs in life a list of non-negotiables, things that they will never negotiate on, things that you want to make sure are number one. And again, that gives your goals purpose and meaning in life. For example, your career might be important to you, so there you might be put that as a non-negotiable. Another thing that might be important to you is your family, so that might be a non-negotiable for you. But everybody needs to sit down by themselves and decide the non-negotiables that are on their plate.
Yeah. So the 7th
purpose is forgiveness. I think something that we need to all do is forgive ourselves for our own foibles. If you can't live a life without forgiveness, it's like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die. Forgiveness is one of the fulcrum points that we need to look at, and a very important part of our life. All of us have been hurt. All of them have been that way. Harriet had to forgive her kidnapper and her person that harmed her so bad. Right. I had to forgive my doctor that was so cold and callous and so cruel to me.
Yeah. It can also include forgiving yourself. I mean, some people have had a past or maybe done something and then thought, well, you know what, this is the new me. I've got to just forgive what I did in the past. This is what I'm, my purpose now is to help people or do such and such. So forgiving yourself is also quite important, isn't it?
It is. It's very important to make it so important and make it so much better.
Yeah.
The 8th pearl is attitude, and attitude is one of the things that shapes or breaks us, and something that we all have to be cognizant of. Attitude is something that's very important for us, and something that all of us need to have a good attitude in order to make the world a better place.
Yeah. Wow. And number 9?
Number 9 is thankfulness or gratitude. I think all of us should have a gratitude journal and decide what we would like to be gratitude for. Today I saw I was on your show, so I was very grateful for that. Something important for us.
Yeah. And then 10.
10 is tenacity. 10 is a very important one. Tenacity is the fire that burns inside us, something that makes us that much more valuable.
Yeah. Okay. But obviously the fire is not a real fire. Obviously I used to be a firefighter. You're talking about the kind of like something.
The burning, the passion,
the
things
passion,
that
burning
carries
passion.
you through the storms.
Yeah. I'm with you now. Yeah. And 11.
11 is a very important one. It's laughter. I think all of us need to learn how to laugh at ourselves, at our foibles. I think all of us are very important that we need to laugh. There's nothing that pulls us together more than a good laugh. And so I think we have to look at life with the laughter in our eye and laughter in our heart.
Yeah. And then the penultimate pearl.
I think that one of the most important is enthusiasm. And I'm going to tell you a little story to make enthusiasm even more important for you.
Sure,
Dave.
yeah.
There was a carpenter and his name was Fred, and he had worked in the same company for 45 years and he was tired. So he decided he was going to quit. So he went to his boss and said, "Boss, I can't work here anymore. I'm done. I just have lost the enthusiasm for life." And the boss said, "Fred, you can't do this. I need you to do one more thing for me before you quit. You're my number one carpenter. You've helped build every house in my company, and I would like you to build just one more for me. Only you can do with it. You're my master carpenter."
Yeah.
And Fred said, "Of course I will. It's something that I've loved it here. This has been my only job I've ever had. I've loved working here." So he decided to do it. But his heart wasn't into it. Every day he dragged his arse to work, and he barely got the job done. And at the end, a miracle happened. The house passed inspection. So he went back to the boss and gave the keys to the boss and said, "Boss, here's the keys to the last house I'm ever going to build." And the boss said, "Just wait a minute, we're going to have a party." So he dragged everybody from the office around. They popped the champagne, they had the caviar, they had a great time. And the boss said to everybody, "I'm going to give a little speech. Everybody, this is Fred's last day. It's a monumental day. I'm going to be very sad, but he's going to be very happy because he's going on to something better." And he said, "But I've got a gift for Fred. Fred, here's the keys to the last house you ever built. I want you to live in it with all the joy and all the enthusiasm you've given me all the years of your life." Now, the reason why I tell you that, Dave, is enthusiasm's not a Monday thing. It's not a Friday thing. It's not a Tuesday thing. It's something you have to bring to the table every minute of every day in order to make the world a better place. And the more you do that, the world is going to be a very better place.
Yeah, well. And lastly, the 13th pearl is
empowerment. And empowerment is the embodiment of it all. It's the sum total of everything that you've ever did. You have to be empowered to make the world a better place. And you have to make the world a better place because of your empowerment.
Yeah, wow. Well, Dr. Lycka, life really kicked you hard in the teeth, and there's a huge analogy with what's happening in the world today. So can we talk about that?
Yes, I think there is a huge analogy. The world has gone through the same phases that I went through. It went through anger. It went through bargaining. It went through depression. And finally, I think it's gone through an acceptance of what's gone on. And I think the world is a better place as a result of it. I think the world has changed as a result of it. It had a massive turning point when COVID hit it. And I think the massive turning point has now come to a point that the world is starting to grow as a result of it. And we're starting to come out of it, and we're starting to get better as a result of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you certainly found a solution to your problem by reaching out. So is there a lesson that all of us can learn from this?
Well, I think it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens, Dave. I think that's the most important meaning that I can give to anybody today. Yeah. And I'd like everybody to take that meaning and put it to heart. It's not, if you're given lemons, don't concentrate on the lemons, concentrate on the lemonade that you can make from it.
Well, Dr. Lycka, you've given some great value for our audience today. Could you tell our audience where they can find out more about you and also where to find your book?
Yes, please go to my website, Dr. Allen Lycka, that's DRALLEN, Lycka, LYCKA.com, and you can get a free digital copy of my book just by clicking on the link there. I'd love everybody to have a free copy of it and share it with your friends, please, because I think the world will be a better place if you do read it. I think it'll fit as one of the top books on your bookshelf for the number of years.
Yeah. Is that an e-copy then? That would be an e-copy, obviously.
Yes, that's right. It's going to be an email copy, and it'll be sent to you via a digital format.
Sure, yeah. Excellent. Well, if anyone listening, I will also be putting Dr. Lycka's website on the show notes. So whenever you finish listening to this and you also want to refer back to the website, you can also go and scroll down on the show notes and find it there. Well, Dr. Lycka, it's certainly been a great privilege having you on my show, actually. Not that you come on my show, but it's also a privilege having you here because you are a seasoned motivational speaker, and obviously having, the likes of Jack Canfield and, endorsing your book, that's huge. So really delighted for you to come on my show as well, Dr. Lycka, to share your amazing story.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad I could help your audience. If we can just change one person today, I think the world will be a better place.
Absolutely. Well, once again, thanks a lot for coming on my show today, Dr. Lycka.
Bye for now. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend.